The promises coming out of Brackley are proving to be the real deal, as Mercedes finally found a solution working for them and even beat one Red Bull on the course of locking 2 out of the 3 podium spots in Barcelona. This can only mean good things and means that the Silver Arrows have finally made a massive discovery that might help them challenge Red Bull in the future. And when you add the Hamilton situation on top of it, Mercedes are on 7th heaven right now. Join us as we delve deeper into how this team are starting to turn things around this season. Such was the Mercedes' performance in Barcelona huge that it left George Russell completely stunned, to the point that the young British driver started seeing things that weren't there. After he beat none other than Sergio Perez to the last spot on the podium, he went ahead and stated, "A little bit surprised for sure," said Russell. "Kudos to the team for giving me a great car. That was a fun race for us, starting in P12, coming all the way to P3, a sign of things to come hopefully for us and the team." Another thing that surprised Russell is when, halfway through the race, he went on radio and reported raindrops because he spotted something on his visor. However, the very next lap, he realized his mistake when his race engineer told him that he was the only one who reported rain, making Russell conclude that it was his sweat from not properly tucking his hair inside the helmet. This led to him being properly embarrassed and explained the situation after the race. "I had my head dangling down in the first stint. I think I didn't quite get it in my balaclava. That was annoying because it was in my peripheral vision. Then, as I was sweating, because it wasn't in my balaclava, it was dripping down onto my face, and then when I was braking, it was coming onto my visor. So, with the grey clouds and then the spots of water on the visor, I thought it was rain. That was a bit of an embarrassing one." Russell's little slip, however, was the only slip Mercedes had on an amazing day for them in Barcelona. We must remember that on Friday, Hamilton even stated that he is afraid he might not make it to Q3, and Russell did not even manage to get out of Q2. So, especially after the start that they had, it seems things are finally working out for the Brackley squad. This situation might also prove to be the turning point for Lewis Hamilton. He hasn't signed a new contract yet, but things are moving in the right direction, and after the Barcelona GP, Hamilton mentioned that he needs to have an informal talk with Toto and they can start working things out, with Toto also expressing that it's just a matter of time in his opinion. Hamilton has always said that he loves Mercedes and wants to stay with them, and despite rumors that he might leave, Wolff himself dismissed all those speculations. Hamilton, along with Russell, was surprised by how fast the Silver Arrows performed in Catalonia. However, Hamilton was cautious in saying that they can catch up to Red Bull soon. He appreciated the result and acknowledged that there's still work to be done, but they are getting closer to Red Bull now. What a result for our team. We definitely didn't expect to have the result we have today, so I just really want to take my hat off to my team," Hamilton told media after the race. "A big thank you to everyone back at the factory for continuing to push and bringing us a little bit closer to the Bulls. They're still a bit ahead, but we will keep chasing them down, but this is an amazing result. George did a great job today as well." When asked if he had any hope of Red Bull being caught in 2023, Hamilton gave a realistic response. "I think they're still a little bit too quick at the moment, but we're working at it," added Hamilton. "Just one step at a time, and if we can get close by the end of the year, that'll be awesome, but if not, then next year." What is important to notice here is that the words that Hamilton uses, which imply that a new contract is all but officially confirmed for the 7-time world champion. What's unclear are only the conditions and how much salary would he earn. So, Mercedes now firmly stand on P2 in the constructors' standings, but would that be enough so we can brand them for the second best team? What does this mean now for Ferrari and Aston Martin? For AM and Alonso, this should serve as a big warning that they will not have it as easily as they did at the start of the season. Granted, perhaps it really was just an unusual and disappointing weekend, as Aston Martin not only fell behind Mercedes and one functioning Ferrari, but also finished more than a minute behind the winner, which is a significant change in their performance. However, could this indicate that as Mercedes and Ferrari improve their cars, Aston Martin's true position becomes more evident? Aston Martin has made impressive progress during the winter to be in the conversation behind Red Bull. There was a suspicion that their standing as the best team after Red Bull was partly due to the underperformance of Red Bull's expected rivals at the beginning of the season. Ferrari is also in a very precarious position. Their decline from being a strong competitor against Red Bull just over a year ago to having their lead driver qualify 19th and struggle to recover, and their other car finishing 45 seconds behind the leader despite qualifying second, is hard to believe. We have become somewhat accustomed to Ferrari's disappointments, but it is still surprising, and while both Mercedes and Ferrari have made significant changes to their cars throughout 2023, only one of them seems to be a threat worth Red Bull's attention. Wolff used some tough words when asked about where Mercedes is in comparison to Red Bull, as he admitted that the team is far from the Austrian side and from Verstappen. I would love to give an answer, but I simply don't know. Verstappen is just on a different level. It pisses me off to say that, but that is the reality. It is a meritocracy. They have done the best job, the driver is excellent, and they're just far away. This is something only we have in our hands to get under control. However, after seeing what we saw in Catalonia, could this only be mind games from Wolff to get the attention off his drivers? We know how talented Russell is, and well, Hamilton is Hamilton, so Toto could be doing anything he can to get the media burden off their shoulders. Much of the talk between now and Canada in 2 weeks will be about Mercedes' upgrades, and will they be able to hold on and continue how they started in Barcelona, at a circuit where the team enjoyed one of their better performances in 2022, with the conditions placing an extreme emphasis on tyre temperature. Mercedes have to be careful to not make a repeat of the Australian Grand Prix this season, where even though they had a great race, they didn't even finish P5 in Baku. But all of this does not point to a situation similar to that, because I hope the team has learned from their mistakes, and we can see that since they moved away from that dreaded zero-pod design. So, as the famous quote says, one swallow does not make a summer, and so we cannot draw definitive conclusions after one race for Mercedes, but if we compare Mercedes to Aston Martin and Ferrari, it seems like they closed the gap. Red Bull is still far away in terms of performance and pace, but a great basis has been set from the Silver Arrows on which they can build their future upgrades and car designs. It seems like this is the strongest and most obvious message Mercedes have sent in this era, and they have all the right to be optimistic. What really matters now is the ongoing development work at Brackley. With that being said, Mercedes appears to be in a favourable position in the competition for the best team behind Red Bull, a fact which is further reinforced by its strong driver lineup and consistent performance. These characteristics can be seen as advantages for Mercedes, as each one provides a clear edge over either Ferrari or Aston Martin. It'll be interesting to see how this develops in 2 weeks in Canada. Will Mercedes be able to build upon this great performance, or it was just a small flash of light in a sea of darkness? What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.